What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's video. You can see behind me, Termite is in the shop. We are prepping for Arkansas. We're going to be heading to Arkansas in a few days, and we're going to be giving Termite a once-over. I've been kind of keeping up with things as we've been driving it. You know, any issues that come up, obviously, we're fixing it and addressing it. But there's just a lot of little things that are not necessarily hurting anything per se. They're not preventing us from driving it, but it's 7 hours, give or take a little bit, one way to Mountain View. That's where we're going. Then you got a whole week of riding around, doing everything we're doing there, and obviously you got to get back home. So a few things that we need to go through, nothing crazy serious. Just a few things we want to check out. Last week, Andrew and I got out here and we went through all the suspension, made sure everything was tight, nothing was loose or, you know, ball joint, wheel bearing, nothing like that. Everything was good shape there. We've already done that. But actually got a little list right here of some things that we want to kind of do in this video. So, excuse my horrible handwriting. So, winch rope. So, one of the things that we're going to do is we are not going to run the big heavy metal winch hook anymore. Right here. So we've got a fid here from Factor 55 that we're going to be tying a loop onto the end of our winch rope. A lot of people have really good videos on how to tie that knot and to where you don't have that weight of that hook as a projectile if something was to ever happen. Also, if this line ever did break, because we have a fid now, we would be able to fix it, to be able to repair it, to tie it, to do. So we're going to be doing that. I don't think we're going to need a winch up there because we're not planning on doing any kind of like crazy trail ride. We're going to do a little bit of going around and riding and stuff, but we're not planning on, but you know, that's the whole point of having a winch, because you get into stuff you don't really plan on, right? So got to get the winch rope tied. Our exhaust. There's a spot above where the pipe goes over the front drive shaft, and Roman ran it. There's not a lot of options, and he ran it as tight as he could. But the other day I noticed, and I don't know when, I think it happened. I was going to my buddy's shooting range the other day, and it's kind of, you go through a little wash to get back there to it, and I think when I went through that wash is when I did it, but the drive shaft ended up kind of touching the exhaust. So I already kind of have gotten in there and kind of dented it up, try to give me a little bit of clearance. But I want to fool with that to see if there's anything I can do to get a little more clearance. And then probably when we get back from Arkansas, we're going to have to start exploring, possibly, if depending on what we find in our research, maybe having to redo that spot on the exhaust. I don't know what we can do, but parking brake still needs to be adjusted. I never finished doing that, so I got to do that. Trailer lights. We got to get some trailer lights that has a plug on it. I don't know if it works though, so I got to test that, see if the trailer lights work, because I am planning on taking the XR. So go through that, clean out the back, all of our camping stuff in the back. We're not going to be camping on this trip. We're going to be staying in a cabin. So all of our camping gear that's been rattling around in the back of Termite, that's all got to come out. Transpan's got a small leak on the back side of those bolts. I know exactly where it is, right up on top of the mount, because they're hard to get to. And I don't think I ever got them as tight as I could, so I need to kind of spend a little time getting them tightened up. And just general wiring cleanup under the hood. I was going to wait till the AC was going, but I'm just going to get it cleaned up, and it'll be what it's going to be. And that's all I can think of. We may come up with something along the way. The only issue that we had the other day, Andrew went to town and filled up with gas, and that's the second time we've filled it up since we've been running the new setup. When I dropped the tank, if you'll remember, I put 2 new rollover valves from Team Grand Wagoneer in the top. And the one in the front actually has, I believe, contact with fuel. And Andrew pulled up, and it was just dumping gas out of the front hose that goes to that rollover valve. Now, used to that line went to a charcoal canister, which we've never had. And so I just had it running out to open air because I didn't think gas, and gas shouldn't. That's the whole point of having it. But it was just literally spraying fuel out of it. It had created a siphon, and it was going to town. So I had to run and grab a gas jug, and it ran a full 5 gallons almost of gas before it finally quit. So I must assume that that valve has failed. The little ball or whatever is in there has stuck. And so I just capped it off, and we've still got the vent going out the back. That one seems to be doing fine, no problems. And we're just going to have to kind of keep an eye on that. But that kind of ticked me off because that was a stupid issue. But anyway, we've had that issue, and we're also getting a check engine light for low cam signal voltage. It's supposed to be 5 volts. I check it, it's got 5 volts. So we have no symptoms. There's it's not hard to start. It don't stutter. It's running fantastic. So I don't know, that's just something being weird. I don't know. There's no symptoms. It just keeps throwing that code. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't have a check engine light wired up. I just plugged the scanner in the other day to see if there was anything, and there was that. And then also, and I feel stupid about this, guys. You know, we did our 0 to 60 video a while back, and I can't remember what it ran. What it was, like 13 seconds maybe or something. I can't even remember. But anyway, so the other morning, Lucy and I got in Termite, and we were leaving, and it was cold, and I wasn't even really hardly giving it gas, just letting it ease up to speed, and it like slipped on one of the shifts. And I was like, that's weird. So I said, you know, I never did really spend a lot of time checking the transmission fluid. It said 6 to 7 quarts. That's what I put in it. It seemed to go in gear fine, seems to shift fine, so I hadn't really worried about it. Anyway, long story short, guys, 4 quarts later, Termite's transmission fluid is topped off. So, and it is a completely different truck. Like completely, oh my gosh, it changed everything about how it shifted. And of course, it holds gears longer now. So it just steam engines down the road. So we may redo that test one day, because I think it probably will be a little quicker with actual fluid in it. I feel so stupid on that, but it took 10 quarts. But research shows that on the 545s, sometimes you can drain out of the converter. But we also had a new trans cooler, new trans lines. All that stuff was drained and new. So the 6 to 7 quarts is really just in a filter change, and which is all we did. But our situation should have obviously set off alarms. I should have known. But no harm, no foul. Everything seems to be fine. But anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to stop talking, and we're going to get Termite up in the air and give it a checkup. All right. I mean, no major leaks or nothing under here you guys can see. Everything's dry. But right here, that's what I'm telling you. See how that's close. Now, obviously, this is drooping, but when it's on its weight, it's not much difference at all. So this is pretty much what it looks like at ride height too. So like I've dented it here a little bit with a punch, as you can see, but you can see the line on there where it had actually hit it, and this cap was up here. That's what I noticed first, was that it had, I guess, hit and spun, and it just popped it up. So I put the seal cap back on, and there was a little mark on the exhaust. So I think I'm just gonna drop the front half and take a hammer and just see if I can ding this flat just a little bit more, and that will give me something. It'll give me a little bit. And it's hard to flex these things out if the leaf springs are still hooked up, which they are. So I may unhook the leaf springs. I'm eventually going to build some disconnects. I mean, not unhook the leaf springs, the sway bar. I'm eventually going to build some disconnects for the sway bars. But it's hard to make these leaf spring things flex. with sway bars hooked up. It just wants to pick the whole Jeep up. So, but yeah, there's that. Other than that, you can see a little bit of, oh, that's a little wet right here. Not bad, but it is leaking. But it's these back bolts under here. There's like 3 or 4 across there. And I just gotta, I can get a socket on them. I mean, I'm touching them right there. But I just gotta kind of snug those back up. I think they're a little loose, and that's letting the transmission fluid kind of come out the back. And my parking cable, you can see it touches the transfer case. So I'm gonna cut this off, probably right here, and because it still needs a lot of adjustment. It's still super loose. So I'm gonna cut this off and then just run my adjuster back, and it's probably gonna end up being somewhere right in here, and then it won't be touching the transfer case no more, which is all wet with transmission fluid because of the proximity of the pan right there. So, but other than that, everything under here looks good. Everything looks nice. Let's see. Here's the culprit. You can see I got it capped off. But yeah, that was a scary moment. I did not care for that. So under here though, everything, like I said, is looking pretty good for the moment. So I'm gonna drop this front drive shaft and put a little hammer work on that exhaust, I guess. See what we can get out of it. All right, I got a pretty good dent in her now. That's about as far as I wanted to ding it. But that'll give us, you know, a little more. Not a whole lot. But the only other thing that might could happen is if we came out here and turned it back, looped it back toward the front, and then turned it more on top of up here and came back at an angle. But I don't even know if that's possible. So anyway, we got a pretty good bit of little clearance there now. Not as much as I would want, but you know, it's what we got. So all we can do is all we can do for right now. If like I said, it's just, this is gonna be Termite's first time too going really off-road. Like, I wanted to do some DeSoto trips and stuff like that, but we just haven't had time. And so anyway, we'll find out. We're not planning on going up there and doing nothing crazy. This is a relaxing trip for us. That's why we're not camping or doing anything. We're just going up, and we've just been nonstop, y'all, for a long time with ministry and school and everything. And so this is more just us getting away and just doing kind of nothing for a week. So anyway, there's that. Transmission pan bolts are snugged up. They weren't real loose, so, but I did get a little snug out of them. So there's that. So I'm gonna get this parking brake chopped off and get that tightened up where we can have parking brake. All right, we've got new trailer plug hooked up that is working. And I've been kind of fighting that issue with the cam sensor voltage. Asked around, a couple of guys was like, you know, or one guy told me the sensor should be sending back 5 volts. It's getting 5 volts, should be sending back 5 volts. Mine was sending back 2.4 and some change. So I went to town, took that one back, put a new one in. It's doing the same thing, still reading 2.4. But it cranks and runs fine. So I don't know. I don't know. That's one of those things, again, that I run into with this, that I'm not familiar with modern engines and all that kind of stuff as to what should be and shouldn't be, and I don't know. But anyway, I'll just keep fooling with that later. Right now, Andrew's going to come out and she's going to start tying the knot for the winch, and we're going to start getting the back of the Jeep cleaned out, get all the camping stuff out so that we got room for luggage. So watching Yankum Ropes tutorial, and it's going pretty good. We'll test it out here in just a second. All right, Judah's holding in the loop to see how tight it is. Let's see if it's good enough. Okay. I put this little loop deal here to be able to just to hook our rope on like that. So that's nice and clean. And we'll actually test it out. We'll probably hook it up. I don't know. We'll hook it to something, but for right now, I like that. That's nice and clean. All right, y'all, it is load up day. We're leaving early in the morning. So we've got the trailer hooked up to Termite. We've been giving Termite, checking everything out through the week. We got the cam sensor wiring. I don't know, I replaced the sensor. We'd already put a new sensor in. I went and swapped it and got a new sensor. But what I did notice is when I went to take out the one that was in there, the bolt wasn't real tight. Like, it was kind of loose. And I don't know if maybe that other sensor wasn't seated all the way in and that was affecting the ground, or I don't know, or if it was just a bad sensor. I don't know. Either way, the new one's in and it's not throwing that code anymore. So I'll take whatever the problem was. We're good to go there. So that's good. Everything seems to be pointing to go. So we're going to get the bike loaded up, and then I'm going to start trying to figure out how to fit tools and anything else we may need on the trailer, because most of our room. Also, I got to mount. We finally have a fire extinguisher, so I got to mount the fire extinguisher. Those are pretty important. After Andrew got back the other day and it was just spraying fuel out of that rollover hose, I was like, yeah, I don't like this. So we got, and you know, make sure you get a fire extinguisher, make sure you get the one that is for liquids and electrical. There's different types, so make sure you get one for that. But anyway, we're gonna get that mounted down.
Good to go. It's quite the setup we have here, huh? You excited about the trip?
Yeah. I mean, I need new pants, but...
Yeah. Those are your old ones.
Yeah, I've had them ever since I was 7.
Really?
I think. I've had them a long time.
What's Daddy doing?
Running the Super Bee. You think I'm deaf?
No. Just the way you said it. Do you know what that means?
Yes.
What?
He's gonna drive it around.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We are officially fully loaded down, except for like our stuff. A few little things we gotta still throw back there in the back. But got all my boots and everything in here. I got our tools. I need to throw the jack on the back on the tire mount, because I don't really know where to tie a floor jack down. So I need to put the jack back on there, but just in case we need a jack for something. But anyway, that's it. We are about to maiden voyage this thing. So we've dealing with the nerves today, and you know,
Once we get halfway up there.
yeah, the further away we get, the more miles we get. Yes, we will be getting further from home, but for every hour that you drive that it just runs, which is what it's going to do, your confidence builds in it. Yeah. So, I mean, you got to pull the Band-Aid off and go at some point. And so that's kind of, we're going to be rolling out in the morning and taking it 1 mile at a time. But I went a little test drive with a trailer and the bike on the back just to kind of let everything kind of settle and shake down and readjust all my straps. And I mean, obviously it pulls the trailer like there's not even anything back there. Like it picks up and rolls, you know, it ain't no big deal. So yeah, I think it's maps. It always tells us about 6.5 hours there, but we're planning on, by the time you got 2 kids and you stop with gas and food and all that kind of stuff, 7.5 to 8 probably, before we're officially getting out of Termite. So, but yeah, dark 30 in the morning, we're rolling out, guys. So that's gonna wrap up this video. So next video y'all see maybe trip stuff. I don't know. We're gonna be doing some XR video content and getting Termite out there a little bit. Not gonna do anything crazy. We're not planning on, like, you know, rock crawling or anything up there. We're just gonna kind of get out and ride, and a lot of it is familiar places and roads and stuff we've been, but we'll see what we get into. So anyway, thank y'all as always for watching. We'll see y'all next week.